Hello, everybody. It is Andrea from Energy Healing by Andrea. So I wanted to talk about something that happened to me between last night and this morning. And I was like, whoa, this is pretty serious and we need to address this. And it's about communication and miscommunication. Now, back in the day when we communicated, we pick up the phone, we're face to face, you can sense someone's tone, demeanor, body language, and you get a general idea of when they're saying words and you're hearing their tone, what they are meaning. And if there is any sort of confusion, you're like, whoa, what did you mean by that? Or why would you say that? And at that point, again, because you are talking, you can communicate effectively exactly what you meant, how you meant it, and you can move forward. And usually you can solve it pretty quickly with open communication, right? But nowadays, it's pretty tough. And the reason is because we are mainly communicating through text, email, or messages on social media. And the reason that is hard, because it can snowball and spiral very quickly, is because when we are typing that message, we are typing it through the filter of our life, how we have experienced things, our traumas, how we've heard people use tone, how we have received judgment. And in general, when you're typing it the way that you would usually speak and write and all of that. And that's different all over the world. And so whether you're letting it lightly or serious, no one on that other side is truly going to know how you meant it. Because when they are reading it, they are reading that through their filter, through their life, through their traumas, their experiences, how they've heard tone and how they have received judgment and how they would write things. And this is why things get so complicated. And so one person's writing it like this person's taking it like I'm saying this, and you're trying to go back and forth, and this is just prolonging this conversation and making it 100 times worse than however it was first meant to be. It's like playing telephone almost, right? You're hitting blocks constantly. And it's just because of the different filters that we are seeing life through. And so if it's with your family, your friends, or your partner, I 100% suggest that if this begins to happen, you pick up the phone and you talk to that person and you work through it rather quickly and be like, oh, I meant it like this. And it's like, oh, okay. Or this is why I got upset with what you said. Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean like that. Next time I'll know to do this, right? That gets it solved pretty quickly. But the problem is when you're communicating with people all over the world that you don't know and you're typing something and it could be very innocently typed. And it's just oh my goodness, I'm being attacked and I don't understand why. If you're typing something and you do have a negative intention, if you're being mean, I always say, move on, swipe away. You don't need to comment. You don't need to write anything that is mean or awful that's going to put somebody down because you don't know what that person has been through and you don't know how much that one word, that sentence, or that paragraph is going to affect that person. And their belief system and how they were programmed and their traumas that they've been through. So I 100% say if you have something not nice to say, please move along and don't do it. But if you're making a comment, you need to be aware that what you're writing might not be perceived the way that you meant it. And I also would say when you're reading comments, you have to kind of look at them and be like, if you're kind of triggered right away, before you react and respond, you might be like, okay, could this have been meant in a different way? Because we are all different, unique beings, and we all write and interpret things in a different way. And I just think it's really important for us to love who we are, be our authentic selves, shine bright. I'm constantly telling everybody to be everybody's cheerleader, applaud them when they're taking next steps, make them be the happiest person they can possibly be in this life. And so when we're reading things, I like to read things as in it can be from the best intention, not from a negative side, because I would hope that there's not that many people in this world that want to put people down or, just be like that. And so I made a comment on something and it was from my, experience in my life of me going okay, well, I did do that and it was harder than I thought. But I was just talking about the process of it. I wasn't talking about anything else. And I guess this one little clip was attached to something on a much larger level that I didn't know. So I think when people read it, they thought I was comparing myself and I was being like, oh, woe is me and blah, 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 blah. And meanwhile, I'm just like, oh yeah, like the process was like much more difficult than I actually thought. And I meant nothing by it. So I probably shouldn't have typed anything at all. But sometimes it's like, well, what if I type this and it would make somebody else understand something from a different view, right? And that's why I think it is helpful, because if somebody is going through something or thinking something, then by having support from others, it does, make you feel better. So anyways, when you are communicating, just be aware that we are all living life through a different filter. We are seeing things in different ways when we're writing it and when we're reading it. And if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything and scroll along. If you have something nice to say, be aware that it could be read in the wrong way, and that is just kind of going to be what it's going to be. But try to look at things in a broader way than in just how you see like life. Do you know what I mean? Anyways, so communication and miscommunication. Text can be quite the struggle. And again, if it's with your family, friends, and partners, just pick up the phone. It's just much easier. And if it's the other way, just be aware of how it can be received in a manner which you did not mean it. So you guys have a good day, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.